Today we're ranking the Pacific Conference, their all-season moves, and how I believe they'll perform this next coming season, finishing up the West. Let's go. We're starting with the Warriors today. It is a little hilarious how long it took them to make any moves, but they finally brought in some new guys. Seth Curry's coming in, the brother duo. We'll see how they perform. I mean, they know how to play together at least. You bring in another guy that's just a three-point shooter. He's not amazing on defense, but he can shoot the three. So I guess that's good for the Warriors no matter what. You bring in Al Horford, who's old as dirt, but we saw with Boston that he can be a good center still. You lose Kevon Looney, so you're kind of bringing Al Horford in just to cover those center minutes, which makes sense. And he will be a smarter player than Kevon Looney, so I think they did get better at center just for this year. Because, let's be honest, how long does Al Horford really have since he's getting so old so quickly? They bring back Anthony Melton and Gary Payton. Those are good guys to bring back, but the big thing of this offseason was Jonathan Kuminga. Now, the reason they couldn't bring anyone in was because Jonathan Kuminga could not agree to a deal from them. And it is probably the second apron being so detrimental to the teams that they just can't afford to give a guy 30 mil when he's really not the guy of the team. Like, you still have Steph Curry, you have Jimmy Butler. You can't be giving Jonathan Kuminga all this money to just be coming off bench kind of thing. For that reason, they took way too long to get any other good free agency pickups, which definitely hurt them a lot. Now, since the Warriors are getting older every single year, and how the team, it works, but I don't, like, they're the unction. Everyone is old. It's a young man's game. I think they're going to be play-in. Probably the best play-in team, like 7th seed. Their ceiling, I would say, would be 6th or 5th seed. I don't see them doing that, but that is their best outcome. Their floor, I think their floor could be miss playoffs. If Jimmy gets hurt, if Steph gets hurt, the team falls apart. If Steph gets hurt and Jimmy isn't putting on Jimmy playoff performances in the regular season, they could easily miss playoffs. So we'll have to see how that ends up. But a lot of people do believe in the Warriors because, again, you can never count Steph out. But I just think with how old they are, they can't keep up with a lot of teams nowadays. So I would have to call them a play-in team at best. God damn. So the Pacific Division is starting off with two unction teams. They bring back Batum, they bring back Harden, they bring in Beal, they bring in Brook, they bring in Chris Paul. Oh my god. This team, like, John Collins is young. Maybe not like as young as a lot of other players, but he's one of the youngest guys on the team. Like, they all have experience. Every single player on this team has experience. But again, it's kind of the same thing with the Warriors, where they're all so old that they're all decently injury prone. Seeing how Beal played on the Suns, I don't see him being very helpful in general to the Clippers. Unless he fully changes his game where he's okay with being a role player and getting 15 to 20 minutes a game, then he might actually be decent. But I still love the Brook Lopez signing, just because Brook Lopez, no matter what his age is, he always shows that he is a good big man and can hit the three when he needs to hit the three. Chris Paul will never be there for scoring, but he's more of a playmaker, and that might give a little load off of James Harden, where he can go back to being a full scoring guy and let Chris Paul run the offense more. So for those reasons, I think, again, the Clippers are around play-in. And I know that's too many play-in teams, but they're like interchangeable around here. I think their ceiling would be probably around the same as the Warriors, where they're like 5th or 6th seed possibly at their best. But I don't see them missing playoffs at their worst. I see it similar to the Rockets, where their floor is still in play-in somewhere, but at least their ceiling is just getting out of the play-in and being a full playoff team. So I definitely could see that happening. Now the other LA team, the Lakers. They bring back Luka. I'll be real, I wanted him to leave the team so bad. It would have been hilarious if they make probably the greatest trade in NBA history, and then he just leaves the next year. That'd be hilarious, but he doesn't. He stays, and he's obviously amazing. They bring back Jackson Hayes. Who gives a shit? Jake LaRavia, Marcus Smart, decent role players, decent guard role players, you know. You lose Dorian Finney-Smith, which hurts, and Shake Milton, but you're covering Shake Milton's position with these two guys. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith does hurt because he was one of the only lights for the Lakers in the last playoff run. So you have to hope that DeAndre Ayton actually puts in work this season. I don't think he will. He's been a bum since he got into the league. He doesn't put in the work in practice or in games. He expects that he can keep playing how he's playing, and he'll just keep getting contracts for his name value. Kind of like how Ben Simmons was doing it, but especially with the second apron in effect, he has to be fighting to show that he's worth to be signed in the league. He does have a 2-year deal, so he could take this year off and then go crazy the next year. It would still be stupid as hell. We can never trust DeAndre Ayton, because why would we? He's shown nothing for us to trust him. They still have LeBron, who's 41 years old, but it is LeBron, so no matter what, he's going to be a damn good player. Probably an all-star still. But eventually, Luka has to just take over the team, and I definitely see Luka taking over the team much easier than AD. So that's really great for the Lakers. It's just DeAndre Ayton. They need a center. That's been their biggest worry for the team for a while. So if he plays how he's been playing, the Lakers aren't doing shit. Now, even though if he is playing like shit, they're still a playoff team. They 100% make the playoffs. And their ceiling is probably around 4th seed. Maybe 5th seed, but I do see them being better than the Spurs 100%. Their floor 100% could be a play-in team, especially if Luka, with his new skinny self, makes him more injury prone and he sits out games. They are play-in at best. But LeBron, no matter what, LeBron's gonna be fighting his ass off. The thing is, it's only LeBron and Luka. I guess maybe Marcus Smart might fight his ass off because that's just who he is. But LeBron and Luka are the only two that are natural dogs to be fighting. DeAndre Ayton ain't that. And we know he's not, again. So, at best, they're going to be 4th seed. Still don't really see it, though. So, the Phoenix Suns have done so much in this offseason. They buy out Bradley Beal, because you honestly need to. He was so bad last year. And it's just, he was hurting the team whenever he was playing, especially in that Minnesota series. Bradley Beal hurt them no matter when he was on the court. They missed playoffs last year. They had Booker, Kevin Durant, and Beal, and they missed playoffs. I wasn't surprised. I kind of thought that was going to happen, or at least I thought they'd be playing, but missing playoffs is insane. They lose Mason Plumlee, Cody Martin, who are both decent players. You bring in Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green from training Kevin Durant. Now, Dillon Brooks is a good role player. He's honestly probably one of the better role players in the league. Dillon Brooks is one of the most inconsistent guards in the league, where I would never trust him to be around Devin Booker especially, because he's not a playmaker, and he jacks up shots that we just know are not going in half the time. You re-sign Booker, and let's be honest, Booker needs to get the fuck out of Phoenix. If he stays for his entire, if that's what he wants to do, go for it. If he wants to stay in Phoenix his entire career, go for it. But they've shown that they can't find the right players around you, except for the year that you went to the finals. They found Chris Paul, they had DeAndre Ayton, and they made it to the finals, but then lost when they were up 2-1 against the Bucks, which was a devastating loss. So at this point for the Suns, I think it's straight up just build for the future again. You brought in Mark Williams, and that's good, but this team doesn't scream playoffs, especially in the West. And since their future of paying Bradley Beal's contract out over the next few years, I cannot see them being anything better than trash. I think this team is a dumpster fire, and I need to see Booker leave for him to salvage his career, because I've seen so many people talk so highly of Devin Booker, and a lot of people are like, yeah, he scored 70. He scored 70 like 6 years ago. He hasn't done that since then. And he's still a good player, but he's like so obviously a Robin. He cannot do it himself. So either he leaves to go to a new team to try to reinvigorate his career and prove that he can be that guy, or leave and then be a Robin to someone and show that he's a great second option, which is still great, or he stays with Phoenix the rest of his career, has disappointing rest of his career, because who knows, they might not make playoffs while he's there for the rest of his career. And if that happens, Devin Booker's gonna fall into obscurity, which I do feel bad for, but that's the reality of the situation. Their ceiling, I don't even think they're a play-in team. They're probably like, their ceiling is probably like 12th seed, because like they were 11th seed last year with Kevin Durant. They lose Kevin Durant and Jalen Green, so they're gonna be worse than that at best. I could honestly see them being 15th seed at worst. Like, falling down that far and having no real star next to Devin Booker, they could easily fall to 15th seed. And that's such a fall from grace, because again, what was it, 3 years ago they were in the finals fighting for the championship. Disgusting organization. Rebuild completely. You have nothing going for you. The Kings are also kind of in a place where they're stuck in purgatory. They built their team around Sabonis. Sabonis is a great guy. Keegan Murray, he's a great young guy. But then they just take the Bulls' old roster with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. And you saw that the Bulls weren't winning with that. But you take it, and you're currently not winning with it. So either you try to trade them, and I know that Zach LaVine doesn't have very much trade value just because teams don't want a guy like Zach LaVine. But DeMar has shown that even in his older age, he is still a clutch player. He can still make that mid-range automatically. And Keegan Murray is definitely your future piece. Now, they bring in Dennis Schroeder. I mean, good. He's a good role player, but like, it's not helping you fight for the playoffs. Dario Saric, Doug McDermott, they re-signed. It's just like, this team, you lose Jonas Valanciunas, this team is not a playoff team. At best, they're play-in, I guess. Like, I think they'd be worse than Portland, but better than Utah, which isn't much to ask for. But that team in general, they're not making playoffs. Their ceiling might be play-in, just depending on how Keegan Murray progresses. Sabonis, just plays like Sabonis. Their floor is like 13th seed, maybe 14th. No, 14th seed for Utah. They definitely miss playoffs, and that sucks for them because I want to see the beam lit. Like, light the beam. I was so hyped for that 1 year that they made playoffs. It was so much fun. They have such a great fan base and they deserve playoff time. But in this year, the West is just so hard to break into. It's nearly impossible, especially for a team that's like been mid for year upon year upon year and they haven't really done anything else. Since the last of my predictions for this offseason and how they're going to be continuing for this next season, here are all of the teams in the NBA and how I've ranked them, all put next to each other. And I've put left to right, strongest to weakest in that situation. Obviously, I think OKC is still the strongest team for next year, but next to them still Cavs and Knicks. I think the first team that's not like 100% making the finals is Minnesota, and that it's 100% biased, and I don't care. Minnesota's a great team. Ant's that guy. And then everyone else, there's a lot of playoff teams, so someone definitely won't make it. And a lot of play-in teams, so someone definitely won't make it. But this is my ranking. This is where I think they will be, and just how their future will kind of turn out. Thank you so much for watching. These were all 30 teams for all the videos. If you missed any of them, please go check them out, and I'll see you next time.